Alright, hello everyone and welcome to the stream. So today's topic, we're going to create a web API for MetaTrader5 interfaced with, Python and the Flask, web framework. And so just let me explain what this project is about and the use cases we're going to have, using that. So currently, if we look at our current setup, how ATJ Traders is trading, is that we have you know all our infrastructure, training bots, and so on running on the MetaTrader5 platform. Let me zoom that, or actually increase the size of this. So everything we are building is running through this platform, and as a result, we have to run MetaTrader5 on a Windows machine, right? So here, let me just add another text. So we know that this entire environment is essentially on Windows, and we'd have to, always connect to this MetaTrader5 platform. And this is okay. So how MetaTrader works is, you know, the functionality of this platform is basically we can extract the historical data from all symbols. So if we want to backtest, or test any strategy, and we want to extract, symbol data, market data, and so on, we'd have to ask MT5. And so what's useful for is, and we can also write that down, is that with MT5 we can extract, yeah, or like symbol data, like the specification of symbol. We can get market data such as ticks or OHLC, uh, and we can also place trades. And so when we look at all of our backtests, all of our trading bots, we are doing that. And so the reason why I want to use a web API interface for MetaTrader5 is that right now I have created a new research environment. So if we go to research.atjtraders.com, uh, I've created a JupyterHub. So this is currently not publicly available, but maybe for my members or people who have been following me for a while. This is a research environment. I'm just going to log in off screen so I don't leak any confidential information. All right, so I'm now logged in. So this JupyterHub is basically just a Jupyter notebook that is running in the cloud, and it is running on a Linux server. And as you know, Linux is not Windows. So when I created this JupyterHub, so the problem is that I couldn't run MetaTrader5 on that because MetaTrader5 can't run on Linux. And so the plan is to create a web interface. So let's say this right here is our JupyterHub, right? So the JupyterHub is an environment where we can do various data analysis. So if you look at some of my past projects, and I can open uh, one for you. So if you go to any of our past streams and check out any of the backtests. So for example, this is one of my Jupyter analysis on on Bitcoin. So we've been running some backtests and some market analysis on Bitcoin with some very nice results. So this is still running on my local machine, right? So here we have to differentiate uh, all of that is running right in this environment here, right? So I have my local machine on Windows where MT5 is running, the Jupyter notebook is all running on the same machine, and so on and so on. And so for example, if I change my PC because I have a laptop and I have a different PC in my ATJ office, so I have three different PCs where the notebook is running always on the local PC. So one of the struggles I had is that with different PCs, you have different environments. You have to manage all the data accordingly. You have to push it on GitHub. But using this Jupyter Lab, I can now log into this environment, from any PC. Any change to the data, I'm going to keep on, you know, basically on this in the same environment. So when I change my PC right now, I'd have the same changes. I wouldn't have to, I wouldn't have any issues with managing the code. And another nice thing is that it is a Jupyter Hub, so you can also share your files with other collaborators. So if someone from my team would like to run any further backtest or share some of the data they made, they can just share this environment, and they wouldn't have to worry about any of the Python libraries that they're using. And so there are many advantages. But JupyterHub again can't run MT5, and that's a problem. And Reliable Tips just asked, "Hello, so how are you? I made my algo with internet, Udemy, YouTube, your guides too." Yeah, that's great. So hopefully, yeah, good luck with that. And if you're able, to really run on one of your live accounts, good luck to you, and wish you all the best with the strategy. So now back to the Jupyter Lab. So MT5 current Jupyter Hub, and we need to create a bridge between MT5 and our Jupyter Hub, right? And this bridge will be our MT5 web API that we're going to program. So basically, it is a web server. And let me just actually let me remove that. So I'm going to group this. So we are let me remove this arrow. We're grouping this thing here. So now it's a single object. And within that Windows machine, we are going to, run our web API, which is a Flask server. This is basically a web application written in Python that is able to communicate with the MetaTrader5 on the, remote Windows machine, and that is able to send data to our Jupyter Hub for the backtest and our analysis. So we will be sending things such as market data, ticks, OHLC, and eventually this web API can also be used for trading. So if you, for example, want to also control your flow remotely, of course you would require some security to make sure that nothing you know because opening your platform to the public poses some dangers with the live trading account, so we'd have to be careful with that. But basically, this is today's plan. And so for those of you who want to check out this thing here, uh, can view this project right here. Hello Martin, nice to have you in stream. So here, feel free to check that link out. And yeah, so this is today's plan. So we're going to create a web API in Flask that is able to communicate with MT5 and send the data to our Jupyter Hub where we can run our data analysis. So as a result, in the future, when any of you guys, would want to, collaborate on some of the projects with me, you wouldn't have to install the entire GitHub, install the Python packages, because all of that would be already ready using this Jupyter Lab. So first, we need to create like a connector between the API MT5. So we need to create a server, and then we are going to create a client. And so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to just write the exact project plan, so you guys understand what this project is about. And so here I'm just going to align it from like this. So project description. create a web server that is able to retrieve trading data from MetaTrader5 and relay that data to JupyterHub, where we can perform financial analysis. So this is the current plan for today, and I've already created a project on GitHub where we can start, and we're going to code this solution from scratch. So I'm just going to add it into chat. Actually, I already sent it there. So here, just for new viewers, to view the current project or task description, please visit this link. So this is for the new viewers. And so I'm gonna copy this link again, and anyone who wants to look at the current project can just check out this link. So if you guys have any questions about JupyterHub, NT5, Windows, and so on, just let me know. But all we're trying to do basically is just to create a scientific research environment that has, a unified, program environment. So all the Python packages are the same, and that is able to communicate with MT5 regardless of the operating system. Okay, so now let's go to our project here. So here in this project, let me try to zoom in so everyone can maybe see better. So here I'm going to create a directory which is called server, and then I'm going to create a second directory which is called the client. And so we're going to start with server. So in this server, we're going to create an app file which is going to be our Flask server. And okay, now let me just zoom in. So here we're going to go to appearance, and then we're going to zoom the IDE so you guys see exactly what I'm coding here. So I think I'm gonna go with 150%. That should be okay. So hopefully now that is much better for you guys. Great. And now let's proceed with the coding. So we have to import MetaTrader5 as MT5, and of course we need to install some of the packages. So for this project we will have to also create a virtual environment. So I'm going to settings, then I'm going to my project, so the Python interpreter, and now we're going to add interpreter. So yeah, we can do that here, and I'm just going to create a new virtual environment. All right. So now the virtual environment is done. So let me apply the changes. And now I'm just going to install the required packages that we will need for our project. So I'm just going to open the simple command prompt. And here we see that our virtual environment is activated, which you can see in the terminal here. And so to install MetaTrader5, we just use pip install MetaTrader5. Oh, by the way, Martin, now that you're on the stream, if you want to, I can then grant you access to this JupyterHub. So once we're ready with the project, you can, use all the entire JupyterHub for yourself. And yeah, this is a nice coding environment, that I want to share with my members. So anything I do is just accessible from this URL, and you can just quickly, start, programming, without having to set up any virtual environment. So this is the current project, and hopefully, I think you will appreciate it. So we have import MetaTrader5 as MT5. maybe I should start running this. Hopefully, oh, let me just close it and let's, oh, so it seems that the import is not successful. So let me try to run it again, and maybe it's because the current configurations is still not using the virtual environment. See, this is actually the problems when you are, trying to use your own IDE, and for a lot of new programmers, this can be a little bit, frustrating. So here I'm just going to remove this. I'm going to run this again, and still nothing. So I have to check, what the issue might be. So pip install MetaTrader5, and it seems that the requirement is already satisfied. So let me see what the problem is, and here we just have to find the virtual environment that is being used for this one. So here it seems it's using some project default virtual environment. It is actually this one, yeah. So it's Python 3.12. Oh, and stupid me, I have to import MetaTrader5, not just MetaTrader. So now this is working. Tips ask, sir, what's view on Excel-based algo? Well, I don't. I know pandas, so I would not bother with Excel, because anything I can do with Excel, I can do with pandas. So therefore, yeah, you can do very nice thing with Excel, but I think it's a little bit outdated nowadays. Oh, and we see that we have tried to import NumPy 2.12. I have to downgrade to NumPy 1 point. So I'm just going to check NumPy 1x version, because MetaTrader5, yeah, we're not able to work with that. So we're going to have to install a different version of NumPy, and I'm going to install NumPy 1.26.4, and then the import of MetaTrader5 should be ready. Okay, so now let me run this import again, and hopefully, yeah, now there are no problems. And another library that we'll have to install is Flask. So pip install Flask, and Flask is just a web framework to do that. Okay, so yeah, let's now try to create a very simple website. So from Flask, import Flask, and now we're going to create our application using Flask name. So I can create a very simple route. So using app.route, now we define the index, which is our home page, and we just return, yeah, let's just return home page. Okay, and so let's run this application. So here we do app.run, and so this is our foundation for doing our web interface using Flask. So now let me run this and see what happens. All right, so now our server is running, and as you can see, let me just zoom in. Here we have our homepage. So our website is working, and so now what we have to do is somehow we have to create routes, API routes, that will basically, ask MetaTrader5, hey, send me, I need some data, and the server returns 75 data. And so what we're working the most with, the backtester, is actually OHLC data, right? The open, high, low, close data. So when we look at some of our backtests in our algo trading repository, which is algo trading edu. So when we check maybe from our past live streams, and here's some of our Bollinger backtests, for example, we are working with OHLC data, and we will need this historical data to run our backtests. So yeah, so we need to write a function that is able to extract the historical data and then send them to our website. And the data that we see on our website that we've created will be sent to our JupyterHub, which is actually this environment here. So basically, we've coded this web API in Flask that is asking MT5, okay, I need some OHLC data. MT5 will return it to our web API and then transfer that to our JupyterHub, where we're going to, run the data analysis. In the future, maybe we can like have something like a database in the middle. So this is also something that we can do in the future, that we create let's say a MySQL database, and it would store all data. So JupyterHub would just directly communicate with the database instead of the web API. And I think that could be some improvement we could do in the future, but for now, let's do like a direct, from MT5 to JupyterHub. And so now, let's go back to Web API. So we have this very simple index, and this index can be used maybe for documentation. So for example, if we want to see what routes we have and how this API works in the index, we just write the index. Okay, so now let's create a second route. So we do something like app.route, and let's say this route will be OHLC data. And so basically define get OHLC data. So this route, when we call this route, we want to return the data set with open, high, low, close. And so what we have here is, here we can, for example, initialize the path to MT5. So when someone calls this route, we would connect to MetaTrader5. So we would call MT5.initialize, and then we would do something like login. But right now, let's just use this platform we're currently using. Right, and by the way, those who are looking, our Bitcoin trade looks very nice today. So right now, yeah, we have a floating profit of 464 minus the swaps, which is a 424 net profit on BTCUSD. So that is really great. Okay, so now let's go back to OHLC data. So when we get request to OHLC data, we need to think about what data we are going to pass to this application route. And what we have is, we need to ask, what symbol we want, right? So for example, we want symbol to be EURUSD. Next, when you request OHLC data, is you need to specify the time frame, right? So for example, the time frame can be M1, like, which is 1 minute, M5, M15, H1, and so on, or the hourly. So we can specify it somewhat like this. And then what we need is, we need to specify the time range, right? So a start date time, which can be, and now I'm going to need to import from datetime, import datetime. So here we can say, for example, we take datetime dot now minus, and let's also use time delta, minus time delta. Hours is, or maybe like days, is equal to 365. So we're requesting OHLC data for the past 10 years. And then the end date time is equal to datetime.now. And that's basically it. So these are the 4 things that we need to request the OHLC data. And now actually let me initialize the platform first here. And to retrieve the data from MetaTrader5, we can actually use which is a function of the ATJ Algo Trading package. And for that, I will need to install pip install ATJ Algo Trading. And ATJ Algo Trading package has functions that are able to retrieve OHLC data from MT5. So from ATJ, algo trading dot backtester import get OHLC history. So we can just use this very simple function to get the OHLC history. And so here the OHLC data frame is equal to get OHLC history. And here I can just specify the symbol time from starting time and so on. So the thing here is that here the way I represent the time frames using strings, MT5 uses integers. So for example, let me just create a time frame dictionary to explain what I mean by that. Isaac, afternoon. Yeah, nice to have you on stream. So it's great to have you here. And yeah, Isaac, so let me just, tell you what I'm working on. And I think this is a very nice thing for all of you guys who are now watching. And that is that I'm working on a new project which is called research.atjtraders.com, and it is an analytical basically environment where you can access Jupyter Notebook. And so what you can do is you just go here, you would log in, and you wouldn't have to install Python. You would just open any Python file, any notebook, right? And you can start coding, and you would be granted access, to all the libraries, packages, without having you needing to install them. And so basically, all the backtests you can run yourself in this environment. And yeah, so I'm working on this project. So hopefully, anyone who is watching will be able to participate in that soon. So yeah. So I'm hoping that this project will run well. So of course you can click on the link, and so we're currently working on interfacing MT5 through Web API. So this JupyterHub that we're having here will be able to communicate with MT5 and request historical data. And then when you connect to that, yeah, you can then request the data and then run all the various backtests we've been doing on stream. But you will need to go to GitHub, right? You wouldn't need to install PyCharm IDE. All of that is done simply through a web application that you log into, and that's all you need to do. So trying to make this process simple for you guys who are actually interested, in running the backtest and data analysis yourself. Um, Yeah, I didn't send a link, so actually I think I need to copy the HTTPS. So eventually in the future, this will be publicly available. So, all right, like a research environment, I thought you need MT5 running to connect. Yes, that is connect. So correct. So you need MT5 to connect to that. But what I'm trying to do is I'm going to run MT5 on a different remote server. So you guys would just connect to the JupyterHub, which is just a web application, right? So you just connect to this, and all the MT5s, all the databases, all the entire backend, right, to access the historical data would be basically hosted on my part. So this is my project on the back end, and those who just want to focus on the analytical thing, analytical part without having to deal with databases, APIs, and MT5s. Theoretically, I could provide any type of data, but this is on the back end. So you just log in and just start a backtest. So this is the idea. So let's say, oh, today I just want to backtest, but I don't have any MT5 account, right? So for example, if I look at some Bollinger backtest that I have right here, pardon. So let's say I would just upload this notebook to this site here. I would double click on that, and yeah, unfortunately, some of the cells are not readable. But basically, you can just open that, run this, and not worry about anything else. So I think this is great because then people are asking, what version of Python are you using? My MT5 is not able to connect. How do I get MT5 broker credentials? So all of that is sort of, can sort of be difficult. And therefore, I think if I manage this entire part, MySQLDB, API, MT5, or it could be any other broker in the future, I would just save all this data inside a database, and you guys would just work with it in this Jupyter notebook. So I think this is the direction I'm heading to, when it comes to like educating people. And I think the important part is to just get everyone set up right from the start because usually when I was teaching like one-to-one, and I have friends who are interested in algo trading, most of the time I had to sit with them like for 1 hour, set up Python, the Jupyter notebook, the PyCharm IDE, then doing the MetaTrader5. And I was thinking, by skipping the entire process, that way we can easily just cut the part, and immediately we can start backtesting and learn actually what's important, rather than doing the technical parts, which can be overwhelming to newbies. So yeah, so here we have the backtest. So let's say you just open this, you run this, no empty file required, and it's done, right? I think that would be great. So now, yeah. So now let's get back to coding our backend doing the API. So as I said, I would like to create like a dictionary that is able to translate M1, and in MT5 the M1 time frame is represented as MT5 dot time frame M1. So I'm just going to create a dictionary for all possible time frames that we're going to use for our API. Now M15. Oh, thank you, Isaac. So yeah, Martin, you haven't replied yet. So for all the members, right, this new project I'm working on is going to be for free. So I will, after a stream, I will send a link to our members on Discord channel, and you guys can try it out if you want to. So I will just create credentials, and if you want to, I could just create something like a private live stream for you guys to explain how this works. But before we get there, of course I need to finish the projects, because right now there's nothing to use. Okay, so now we still need to create this dictionary. So here we do M15, then we do M30, then now we go to the H1 time frame, right? So this is the hourly time frame. Its greatest MT5 is completing that for us. This is H4. Now this is the daily time frame. This is the D1. And now let's just do the weekly time frame, which is the W, and now we also do monthly, so I think it's MN1, which is for the monthly time frame. Let me just check, if I'm right. So here we have the various time frames. So it's MN1 and W1, so it's correct. I never practiced with W1 MN1, so so I just needed to check that. Okay, so now when we ask MetaTrader5, okay, please get me OHLC data, instead of like statically defining the symbol and the time frame, we can add this through that. Hi Vinicius, welcome to the live stream. Great to have you here. By the way, I put a link in the chat, and I'm planning to work on analytic environment. It is called JupyterHub, where you guys can access the Jupyter notebook and write the code yourself. So all of you are welcome to check it out, and after live stream I will provide user credentials and access to the guys who want to try that. So yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, so let's continue with that. So daily, weekly, monthly, and I'm going to convert that. So here, instead of time frame, I'm just passing in that. Later I will need to perform some what is it called, some data type check and testing, right? So for now we're just trying to create a very simple solution. And so once we get OHS data frame, we want to return OHLC data frame. We want to return the JSON data, because the JSON data will be displayed in our web application. Right, since the home page, when I here do OHLC data, it will return OHLC data, but I also need to provide the symbols and so on. Okay. So now, yeah. So now, as I said, we need to, retrieve the symbol and time frame that we receive, from the request. And the way we can do that is we just import, the request.args. So Flask has a module called request, and it is basically allowing us to provide something that is called query parameters. So for example, if I write a query parameter such as with a question mark, right? Symbol is equal to EURUSD. So here I would say, okay, please give me the OHSC data for EURUSD. And if I want to say the time frame, right? And time frame is equal to H1, so it would be the hour time frame. So this is actually what we're coding right now. We are specifying the query parameters that you can add in the URL link, and we can extract that in Flask using a request.args. And in a moment, I'm going to show you, how it's going to work, on a live example using MT5. So I just need to finish coding that. So here we have the symbol parameter, then the time frame, and we can also provide, the start date time and the end date time for which we want to retrieve the data. So here I would just say start dt. As you can see, right, in Python I use underscore to specify variables, but in URL we're using dashes. So this is just a convention that we're doing when we work with web applications. So I'm just respecting some of the conventions when programming, but there is like no other reason why I'm doing this. And here we have the end date time. So now this route is ready, so we can actually try to create some sample requests on the client side, right? So it's a server is running, and then this is a client, and this client would be replaced by the JupyterHub eventually once this is done. So here I'm going to create Jupyter Notebook, and here I'm going to test some requests, right? So I'm just going to test if the app is working, and to simulate requests that we would pass in the URL parameter, we can replicate that using client and test requests.ipynb. So now what we can do is we need to import requests, and requests is not installed yet in our virtual environment. So here I'm going to also do pip install requests. And so I remember what libraries I'm using. I'm also going to use pip freeze and output that into a file called r requirements.txt. So I will just commit that to my project in the future. And so now if we look at this, we have all the libraries that we're using for this project. So here I have my Git. I want to add this to my Git. So now this is done, and then we can commit that in the future. So now that request has been imported, so essentially I'm just making a publicly available data source for HLC, which is, in my opinion, useful already. But now it's going to be implemented also in the JupyterHub. So I think you guys will enjoy that a lot. Okay. So let's say we want to request the data from our new application, and I see that I haven't installed Jupyter on my local host for this project. So I'm just going to create a simple Python file. I'm just going to call it test requests, right? So it's going to a Python file, and I'm going to ignore this actually, right? So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to run this in Python. So import requests, and I'm going to add this into our main block if name is equal to main. And so our response, or res or res, is equal to requests.get, and here we just need to get the URL where our server is running. So this, what we've coded here, is our server. So I'm going to run this. This is our server, and as I can see, pandas is not installed. So again, another library that we need to install. Pip install pandas. Okay, so now we're just waiting for installation to complete. Okay, so this is great. So our installation has been completed. So here, res is equal to requests.get, and let me run this server one more time. And yeah, so more libraries to be installed. And also we need Plotly. So pip install Plotly, and hopefully that should be sufficient. If not, we just keep installing. And in the future, when we want to install everything, we just use the requirements or text file to update everything we need. Okay, so we're still waiting for Plotly to finish updating. Okay, maybe it will work now. Okay, now the server is working, and so this is our local host. So what I can do is, now when I call this API route and test requests, so here I would have to provide the URL, and of course I need the the route for OHSC data. And then so let's say we want to retrieve data where the symbol is equal to your USD. The time frame is equal to, let's say I want the H1 time frame. Here I will need to import date time. So from date time import date time, and here, yeah, date time, or the start DT. Yes, the start DT is equal to date time dot now. I will also import time delta minus time delta, and here we say days is equal to 365, so I'm requesting data for past 365 days. And now the end date time is equal to date time dot now. So now when I specify the parameters, so these are the arguments that I'm have specified here. So I'm providing the data here. I can say symbol so it's a symbol dictionary. Symbol is equal to symbol. The time frame is time frame. The start date time. And I wonder if Python is able to, translate the start date time and date time using a request library. But I'm just going to hope that it is. If not, I will have to, using string from time. But I will just experiment with that. And after we're done, we can print the result. And then if the result status code is 200, we can print result.json. So it will print the JSON output of that. So I'm going to run this now. So here the response is 500. So it seems we have an error. And if we look here, we see that OHLCDF time, there is some error with the columns. So it seems that MetaTrader5 returned almost nothing, or actually nothing. So I'm just to make sure, I am going to print all the parameters here to see, what the output is, and I'm going to also do that. Okay, so I see that the start date time and end date time are none, and what it means is that these parameters are not available, so they're all required. So I think I found the issue, because here instead of the underscore I should have used a dash. So let me run this file again, and still response 500. Let's scroll up and see what we have here. So we have these two files, and it seems that this still is none, because I believe that the output here is a string, so we need to convert that to datetime. And so I go back to our app, and here I'm going to convert this to datetime. So I can use pandas to datetime. So pandas is a function to easily convert that. So pd.to datetime. Hopefully that will work, and then we can check it in our MetaTrader5 library. So start and end time is that, and I need to import pandas. So import pandas as pd. Okay, so let's run the test request one more time. And as you can see, the API is working. So this is great. So now we are actually able to retrieve OHLC data from MetaTrader5. So let's say we want to use the data to run in our Jupyter notebook. Okay, and so the problem is that currently this API I wrote, this part, is still running on my local host, and we need to deploy it on some VPS where MT5 is running. And so to do that, we will need to deploy it on a remote server, and then we need to open the firewall and open the public so it can be accessed by JupyterHub. Or we can just write a script that will insert into MySQL database and then put in JupyterHub. But as I mentioned, this step is for next time, so this would be our next step. So now what I'm going to do is I just want to create a very simple server, Windows server, that is running on one of our VPS. It would be a development server, so it wouldn't still be production ready, but I think we can start working with something. So let me open remote desktop, and I'm just going to check if I have an account ready. All right. So this is my VPS where our current strategy is running. So here we have our US tech break momentum trading bot and our Tickmill account. And so on this server, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy my Windows server, and then I'm going to go to my JupyterHub and try to request the data from the JupyterHub for you guys. And yeah, so guys, if any of you are interested to receive access to our research lab at ATJ Traders. I wonder, I can just send a link. You can post your contact details there, or just text me on Discord. You know what? Just send me an email to cactu@atjtraders.com. And for those who are interested, in testing out this Bollinger, or I'm sorry, this JupyterHub, and try it for yourselves, then I'd be very happy to provide access today for those of you who are on the stream. Okay, so now let's finish this task. So now I'm just going to create. Actually, I don't need to create anything. I can just take the server folder and copy it onto my remote desktops, right? So I'm just copying some files that are going to be used, for the app. And so one of the changes we also need to make for our app is that we need to specify, the IP not to be localhost, but to set it to public. So here to create a public port, so here I would just have to create host is equal to, and if we add 0.0.0, it would be the public IP, and the port would be, I set the port to 80, so it is just the standard HTTP port. So if I save this, and I think we will also need to install Flask, because Flask is not installed on the server, so I do pip install Flask. So Flask would now be installed, and maybe ATJ Algo Trading if it's not installed yet, but I think it's not. So do pip install ATJ Algo Trading. Okay, that is installed already. So now if I run the server, so I change the directory to the server, so cd, which stands for change directory, we're moving to that server, and here you just do Python, or actually let's just open the development server, that should be fine. So pip install, I'm sorry about it, python app.py. So now the Python server should be starting soon, and we see that the server has been deployed, and I'm just going to enable some firewall settings, right? So by default, the firewall for public access is disabled. So if we go to Windows and I just enable the port 80 to be accessed by applications, then it should be right. So I do an inbound rule. So this is something very advanced when you work with Windows, and yeah, Vinicius, you need some credentials, so just send me a message, and yeah, I'll provide access for you. I think it's best if you just provide an email, and I'll create some credentials. And after the stream, when we're ready, hopefully you will get access to everything you need. So yeah. Okay, so here we create a custom rule. And yeah, we allow TCP connections for the port 80, or we can just, yeah, TCP connection for specific port 80, so that would connect, oh, local port doesn't matter, but for remote port we would be using, oh, okay, actually I think that I can just use the port Okay, so this is for the port 80. Allow the connection. All right, this is fine. And we call this OHLC server. So now we can finish that, and hopefully, because the connection has been enabled, we can try to use this IP address to access the OHLC data, and we can try that by just going to test requests, and hopefully this should retrieve the same data that we need for tickmill. And so now we have response 200, but it seems that we still have some error. And so this server don't need anymore because it is running on remote. And so the problem is, let's see. So we see that the request has been received successfully, and that we've received some response. But let's see what might be the issue. So I'm going to run test requests one more time, and and it returns homepage. So I actually forgot to provide the correct route, which is OHLC data, and I'm going to run this. Great, and now we are retrieving OHLC data from this remote server. So this is just a development server for now. So I'm going to remove that in the future. I'm going to create like a dedicated server, with anything that's required. But for the initial use case, so we get a fully functioning JupyterHub, we can actually now go to our JupyterHub and try to run this file server. So I'm going to delete these files because they are not important. And so actually, we don't need packages either because everything is going to be installed already. So here in research, I'm just going to open my research file, and here I'm going to launch my Jupyter notebook, and I'm going to rename this to test request. And this is going to be a Jupyter notebook file. I just need to check if everything is installed that is required, right? And to do that, I'm just going to quickly go to, I need to open the terminal actually, right? So 1 second. Oh yeah, we just had to go to the plus icon, and here I go to terminal. This might not be available to you guys who will access that because I have admin access. But here I will need to install all the necessary packages, something like pip install ATJ Algo Trading, for example. So default to use installation because normal side package is not writable, requirement is satisfied. So everything is what I need. I have everything I need. So then I need to use pip install requests because we are using the request library to access. Yeah, it seems that it's also installed already. So we need to access OHLC data. So what I wrote here, I can use this code segment, to request OHLC data from our JupyterHub. And next time, when you join my stream, you guys can try to, code along and try to do the same on your end. So again, I need to, create something like a user access, file where I have a list of all users. And I also have to check like the pricing, right? Because if you guys use it too much, it might be too costly because I'm paying for the performance and so on. So I need to make sure that I'm not being overcharged by my hosting provider. But I would let you know, in case of anything. So so that's pretty much it. But nevertheless, so if we go to this section here, because it's a Jupyter notebook, I'm not too concerned about the main block, and actually I can run it as it is now. So as you can see, our JSON response is ready. So this is our output of the JSON response for the OHLC data. You see that it is a lot, but now what I can do instead is I can import pandas as PD. Let me just separate the import block from the actual code block, and instead of printing the JSON file, what I'm going to do is that our OHLCDF is equal to pandas.dataframe, and now we add response.json. And now we can just output our OHLC data frame, and as you can see, now we have actually finished this entire setup, because now everything is accessible from the JupyterHub. So anyone who has access to this to our research lab is now able to retrieve the OHLC data, and that is great, because now what we can do is we can use this data and run backtests based on that. And I'm just going to modify something on the server side. And so if we go, I'm just going to copy some blocks, because as you can see in the OHLC section we see time in the Unix timestamp. And so what I'm going to do now is just 1 second, I'm checking. Oh, I think it's in ATJ Traders legacy. I have some old functions there where I can copy the conversions from Unix to datetime, and all I need to do is just copy this section. I'm going to add it into the API section for a server, and of course this section I'm going to also update on the server side. So then in the future, right, I would have some more efficient ways to update the code, probably with some Git pipelines, but this should be sufficient. So basically all I need to do is I can just take my new app, or just copy this line of code. This is actually better because I don't want to overwrite everything. So I did this with the ID LE, and then I'm just going to add this extra line of code. So I'm going to save this, and so yeah, now I've saved this. I can restart the server using python app.py, and now if I run the request again, okay, it seems that I am still returning it seems like my server might not have restarted properly. Let's see if the line of code has been added, and it has, so the time has been converted successfully. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just cancel it like that, open a new command prompt again, and hopefully that should update it correctly. So cd and then python app.py, and let's see, hopefully that works. No, I still have, it seems I still have the same issue. So this is very strange, even though I have updated the code here. So let me just see if I have made any mistake by any chance. I'm actually going to print OHLCDF, and maybe what could be possible is, even though I specify the time, what could happen is that pandas would convert that to a timestamp. So I think that is also possible. So now one last attempt. So if this is an issue on the client side, then I assume that we have to solve it not on the server side but on the client side instead. So for that reason, yeah, I'm just gonna undo all the changes. So actually, I'm just going to solve it on the client side. Okay, so I'm going to save this. I don't need this. And I'm also going to undo this in the project here, right here. So we are going to solve this on the client side. So that is not very difficult. So all you have to do is actually we can just convert the time in this section here, and oh, and it seems that we also let me also, I think with the conversion it might also create some issues, so I think I need to restart the server again. So sorry for the confusion. And yeah, let's run this again. Okay, so it still seems like we have some issue, and so here we are out of bounds, nanosecond timestamp. So here the precision is nanoseconds, so maybe it's ns, and or is it ms? Right, so now it seems to be correct. So when I passed in, when the parameters, the units, they were not correct. Okay, so now we were able to successfully extract the OHLC data frame, which is great. And now I'm going to show you, that because you don't need MT5 now, you can just, use one of my backends, to request the data. All you need to do is log in, and then we can, proceed as usual. So if you want to run any basic backtest, and I can copy some of my backtests that we have here in right here. So what I can do is, let's just copy this. We can add it to our JupyterHub, and we can just simulate some of the backtests that we have made. And we have all the data already. So all the OHLC data that we have are ready, and all we need to do is just to compute some indicators. So one example that I'm going to show you is this is an example how our library works, and this is ATJ Algo trading, of course. And okay, so now it seems that MetaTrader5 is not installed, and it is used in our backtest library. So this is actually a problem because we need to create a package that doesn't use MetaTrader5. So now we go to ATJ Traders legacy, for example, we see that we have an import of MetaTrader5, and if you look at the class orders and the backtester class, we see that only OHLC history and create OHLC fig, get OHLC history works with MT5. So I can make an adjustment in the class, and I think I'd need to make some change in one of my projects. So here I'm going to also sorry for the delay, change the algo trading library. So this is our open source library used for algorithmic trading. So yes, I'm going to trust a project. I'm going to open a new window. Here I'm going to set up the environment, and here in this project I'm going to do some modifications in the backtester. And what I think we should change now is we should actually remove the MetaTrader5 from the backtester class, or yeah, from the backtester class, because now we'll work purely only with the data we'll put in, and anything that uses MT5 should actually be removed and maybe shifted to MT5 trade utilities, and this is what this class is made for. And I think the only function that works with MT5 is get OHS history. This is the only function that works with it. So theoretically, if we get rid of get OHS history, and this might create some issues with the backwards compatibility, so the old code will stop working, but I think it's still better to adapt to new code, and of course now we are going to be focusing more on our research JupyterHub. So this I'm going to extract, and I think MT5 trade utilities already has get OHSC data, and if not, I can just add it. So here we have all the trade functions that we need, and here we have a new function that is used to extract the rates. Okay, so now we can actually now disregard MT5 from the backtester, and I will need to upload the new distribution. So here I have just some API token that I can upload. Unfortunately, I don't have the API token right now, so again I will do it off screen because I have some sensitive API tokens that I have here. So if you just give me a moment, I will quickly just upload the new version to PyPy, and then with the new version we can then start using the backtester without MetaTrader5. So of course I'm gonna commit the new changes. And now I'm just going to enter my API token from PyPy. And I wonder if I left my API token. Maybe it's on my inner email. Um, all right. Okay, let's see how it looks in the project. So again, here in the project, I have the upload distribution. It's some PyPy API token. It's the API token that I use with Twine. But right now I forgot the API token because it's on my other PC. So I think I'm just gonna create a new one. So if you can be a bit more patient, I will just fix that as soon as possible. Okay, so I've found the API token, so I'm just going to upload my virtual environment again off stream because it's my personal token. So I'm going to do that. Okay. Well, I'm still working on it. So I still need to. Oh, now I can actually share a code with you guys because I've just updated my API token. So, by the way, now that we're talking about the Algo train lib, so when you do pip install ATJ Traders, or I mean ATJ Algo Trading, it is basically just a repository that you can find on PyPy. So the latest version is this one here. So basically, if you want to use the Algo Trading package, you just do pip install ATJ Algo Trading, and you find the source code to that here. And what I'm doing is I'm just uploading that code on the Py repository, and this includes the classes that we're using for the algorithm trading, such as the backtester, MT5 trade utils, and also the trading bot. So these three things we are using, and so now I just need to just set up some easy things. So here I'm just going to install requirements. So pip install r requirements.text, which are the dependencies for my Python project. So everything seems to be satisfied, and hopefully the upload distribution should now work. And if not, I think I still need to check something. So here, no module named build and no module named twine. So I think I just need to also install build and twine. And there's like a tutorial on PyPy. So here I can also show you this tutorial. So to upload the project on PyPy, it requires hatchling and build. Here are metadata. So I think I should use on Windows. I need to install the build. So let me try to do that. So let's see if that works now. We are indexing, but okay. So now my package is being created, and then we are uploading that to PyPy. And after that, so a new distribution has been created and then uploaded. And I made one mistake, and that is that in order to upload, oh, I need to install Twine also. So here we are going to upload Twine to upload it to our new package. And also now that we're uploading, we also need to upgrade the current version. So the new version would be version 0.0.8. So right now I don't think that it's like ready yet to be used like in full production, but at least we can use it on stream and keep improving that. And eventually when I'm like satisfied and we'll have all documentation, then we can maybe do like a 0.1, like a major release once we're ready. Okay. So now let me run this file again. So now we're uploading version 8 to PyPy, and then we can upgrade. We can also use that new version in our Jupyter notebook, and hopefully that will work. So now, so we got a warning. So the warning is error during upload. We retry. So it seems there's some invalid or non-existent authentication information. So we have built the new version, but it seems that we have an error with this upload. So for bin, let me see what that could mean. And maybe the API token that I have has expired. So in that case, I'd have to check if my API token is still valid. So again, I'm very sorry, but I'm going to check off stream, you know, if I have valid API token credentials. All right. Okay. So it seems that my API, so due to some security updates on PyPy, they have updated my API token, so I have to create a new one. And so for that reason, I'm just going to log in to PyPy and try to solve that. So right now I'm just resetting my API token. I'm going to upload that, and then the new distribution should be ready. Okay, I locked myself out of PyPy because I tried to log in too often, so that is very unfortunate. They say it's 3 minutes, so in the meantime we can try to actually in the meantime I'm just going to copy the source code. I'm going to import the backtester class, the new one that we've made here, and as you know, we removed this. So for now I'm just going to go to this place here. I'm going to add the backtester class to this project. So now if we go to Algo lib, and I'm going to copy this backtester class, hopefully that could work. Or yeah, let me try to like this. Drag and drop is currently not supported for folders, so in that case I will need to just copy the init.py. I'm going to create a new folder called backtester, and then move the init into backtester. So instead of importing the Algo backtester, so just from backtester for now, before we update our PyPy package, we will do that. And I will also need to install Plotly. So pip install Plotly. So now Plotly is being installed, and hopefully this should now be ready. So cannot. So now we don't need get OHS history because that has been removed from backtester. So the import is now done, And now, as usual, we'll proceed with some, sample backtest, which is, for example, this Bollinger backtest right here. So here we're going to copy, some basic, indicators that we use to copy or, to run the backtest. So here I'm just going to, run a backtest for OHSCDF using simple mean averages and Bollinger Bands. So I think that should now work. And now if we display OHSCDF down here, we see, that all of that has been calculated down here. And now if we want to, display the data, so I think we can also use the same things here, right? So everything that we've, done in our algo trading education GitHub repository is now also accessible through the JupyterHub without the necessity to install, anything on your end. So here I'm creating a figure, a Plotly figure. It seems that the figure has been generated, but it is still taking some time. So I'm not sure if this figure is too large using Plotly, or if there is, some issue on the Jupyter side. So this seems to be a bug. Okay, so it seems like that here we have JupyterLab common reasons. There is a JupyterLab extension for the JupyterLab Plotly. So how do we fix that? I'm just going to, there's something called a notebook render, and or I just update the packages using this section here. So I'm just going to try this solution, and hopefully that will help us. And then here, this is pip install upgrade notebook. Otherwise I might need to, create that import here. So okay, so now let me restart everything, and hopefully that will help us generate our plotted figure. Great. So now we're rerunning everything, and yeah, still nothing. So here in this tutorial they said that I should try, enable a notebook render, and oh, and I need to use the, if you're not using JupyterLab plot extension, you can install the following command: pip install JupyterLab Plotly. And then we restart the entire JupyterLab. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so this seems to be a problem. So let me try the, the render in the, as suggested before, and maybe that could help us solve the problem. So here, going back here, I'm just going to also import that up here, and hopefully if we now run the figure down here, maybe it will render our Plotly chart. Yeah, and let's try to restart everything and rerun again. Okay, so unfortunately we are still experiencing some, bugs. So this would require, some checking. So maybe I'll just, look at some documentation online. So the lidless JupyterHub Plotly doesn't render. You need to downgrade to Jupyter 3.9. Plotly and Jupyter 4 are not really compatible. So, oh, that seems to be the problem. But this person, he's actually able to use 515 with JupyterLab 4. The magic trick is required to install plot in the Python environment that is running JupyterLab, and JupyterHub in my case works great too. And instead of, yeah, maybe I will try this one. So this person suggests, using the rendering in the form of an iframe. So we can also try that. So let's restart everything, rerun, and now hopefully we will get an output. And this one doesn't work either, unfortunately. Well, this is returning something. Okay, now at least something is happening. So here with a create price fig with SMA 20, the upper band and lower band, and so this doesn't do anything. I can just remove this because we have renders notebook and then renders time frame. So it is still very interesting. So this works, and this might show the same issue. So when I use the notebook, it just returns something empty, and when I use iframe, let's see again what will be created. We get the error. So that is still very unfortunate. So I think I'm going to check first. I think I need to check exactly what dependencies I'm using in my JupyterLab, and here I'm just going to use pip freeze to see the environment. So here somewhere I have Jupyter, and Jupyter, the one I'm using is JupyterLab 4.25, and let's see again what they have mentioned. So you need to downgrade Jupyter 3.9. So I'm going to try that. Hopefully that will solve the issue. So I'm going to do pip install JupyterLab equals 3.9. 3.90, I guess. 4.2. So latest 3.9 version, which is there is actually no 3.9, but there's a 3.68 that I could try using. Alright, so I'm downrange JupyterLab for 400 point to 3 point, and hopefully if I restart everything and rerun everything, maybe we might find a fix. So I'm going to rerun, so restart and rerun. And still we are having an issue with that. Yeah, so this is still quite annoying. You need to download to Jupyter 3.9, plot and Jupyter 4 are not very compatible. Okay, Okay, never mind. So there's no mention about Plotly here. Hi Martin, nice to see you back. By the way, I'm sharing access to my Jupyter notebook, or like the research. So again, just send me your email via DM or to my email, right? So once I'm done with this, all of you guys can use this. So this requires no GitHub, no installation of Python. So I'm going to create user credentials to my members. So feel free to just let me know, and like we can test it together. And I think this will be quite exciting to test. So yeah, and let's see how it goes. So here, this is the iframe figure. I think I can delete that. I don't need this. Okay, so I'm just looking at some other examples. Okay, so we need a Plotly extension for JupyterLab. And I haven't checked yet. Okay. So again, I'm going to pip freeze and look at my version of Plotly. So here we have JupyterLab 3.68, JupyterHub 5.21, and now I need to check Plotly 5.24. So again, Plotly JupyterLab not showing, and so again, here's another post regarding the issue, and okay, let's just try some of the options. Maybe they will work, maybe not, but it's always worth a try. Oh, and there's a type of renderer. So here, let's show renderer is Colab, for example. Okay, again, we have, like, it has generate something, but it's empty. So it's again, it's quite annoying. Then someone suggested to use like render with iframe instead, but then it also seems not to work. Let's try this one. Well, at least it's showing something, but again, yeah. And I think all the iframe figures are generated here. So I think the issue is with trust HTML. That might be the issue. So when we render the HTML here, it seems to work. And now when I check here and run this again, so these figures are basically not being trusted. So I think that might be the issue with this type of renderer. And when I do collab, I'm not sure. So I think, yeah, this post doesn't work really well. I think this one's the best, but again, unfortunately, it's causing some issues. So I think the best one was actually maybe this post here, Saturn Cloud, and so there are multiple reasons. So they say apparently the renderer is sometimes not enabled. So here I'm going to try again to pass in, this one here. So import plotly.io as PIO. The renderer's default is notebook, and if I rerun this, yeah, it is showing empty again. So this one doesn't work. We need to update outdated packages. So again, we're going to try that one more time. So pip install plotly and we upgrade. And then the notebook. Okay, so now we've updated again to the most recent version. So now we can try to restart this, and I assume that this issue still prevails with the plotly figure. So now we go next. We have to check some browser extensions. So maybe I have some browser extensions, but I doubt I do. I think I will skip that. And then there is the plotly offline mode. But this is for plotly version 4.0, and if I run pip freeze and check the plotly version, then we have plotly 5.24. So this one we can skip. We need to restart our kernel. So I can actually let me just save the work. So I save this. I'm gonna close this. So I'm going to save everything. Okay, I'm now going to shut down the kernel, and then I'm going to rerun everything. But that I've done multiple times already. I think this won't change anything. And here install JupyterHub plotly extension. So again, we can try doing that, but it seems that we are not able to find anything. So this also seems to be a problem, and now we can check on Google why it fails. So now if I check this, JupyterHub extension installed for plotly 4.9 fails. With the release of plotly 4.10, this issue still continues to happen. Okay, maybe I can just try to copy that, see what happens. Maybe that will fix it. So now so this is deprecate installing extension Jupyter Lab extensions is now deprecated. Uh, maybe it did something, but I think this is also not a solution. Very annoying. I think I will manage somehow. Then we have advanced settings, search for render, and the value of this thing should be plotly. If it's not, change it to plotly and click save button. So yeah, so we have to go to settings, and somewhere, what is it? In the settings, advanced settings editor, or just settings editor maybe. And then they want me to search for the renderer. So maybe if I can find it. So here we have the renderer. No, that I think that's not the thing. Okay, maybe what I'm going to do instead is I'm actually now just going to update my Jupyter package. So as you know, I need to update my API key, and right now I just need to go to Authenticator. And hopefully by the end of the day we'll fix that issue, because this one's unfortunate, quite annoying, but at least we know what we're working with, and once we're done we don't have to deal with it anymore. So okay, so I will generate a new API key now, so I can upload a new distribution of ATJ Algo trading package, and after that we should be fine. Okay, now I need to go back to my Algo trading lib. Again, off screen I will update the API token for the upload, and then we should have a new distribution ready. Alright, so now I'm uploading the new distribution of my Algo trading package. Let's see if that works. And unfortunately again, I've made another mistake. Invalid API token, project scope token is not valid for project, ATJ Algo trading. Alright, so I think I need to do it one more time, apologies. And right, so the project, I accidentally made it on a different project. Okay, so I made a new token on PyPy again. I'm going to upload it off screen one more time, and I hope that that will solve everything. Alright, so now a new distribution is being created. Successfully built that, and now successfully built uploading distributions. So let me just see if I've made a mistake somewhere. So hopefully we should have a new distribution. Okay, let me try to do it one more time. So your file already exists, so it seems that it is uploading just the first one in queue. So I'm just gonna skip that one. I think I need to delete these, and I need to rerun this, and hopefully that will actually solve the problem. So yeah, thank you for your patience, guys. Yeah, today we are actually dealing with a lot of bugs, but at least we're getting there. So I think now we're uploading that successfully built, and then we're uploading that. So our new project is ready. So amazing, guys. Yeah, the new version of our backtester is now done. So what we can do now is we can actually just go back to our Jupyter, and instead of, remember when we did the test requests, we import that from the backtester, right? So here I can do it from ATJ Algo Trading backtester. We can try to import that, and of course we need to upgrade the backtester. So we do pip install ATJ Algo Trading, and then we upgrade to the latest version. And here we see that 0.0.9 has been released. And if I restart everything, now we are able to access now the backtesting library from our initial repository. And so I think yeah, either we need to restart this entire server to apply the changes. So I will stop my server and then start it again, and hopefully that will update everything. Okay, so we go back to research. Let's run everything, and I'm still like concerned if the backtest is still working. Yeah, so now the backtest is working, and so this is great. So we have at least improved with that. I'm going to delete all the files here, and then I'm going to delete the iframe figures because I don't need them anymore. And this backtester class we can also remove because we are now using ATJ Algo Trading package instead. So now we're just left with a last problem, and the last problem is I think I need to refresh if possible. I'm trying to remove this, but for some reason that's working. Well, never mind that. Um, the last problem we need to fix is to generate a plotly figure. And so now we are back to this initial problem. Maybe we can just move to Matplotlib. That would also be a solution. So here, actually I'm going to use Plotly 5.15 with JupyterLab 4, so latest version probably works well too. So yeah. It seems that the Plotly community does not have any issues with creating a Matplotlib chart. So yeah, maybe Martin, we could try working with Matplotlib instead. I think that wouldn't be actually such a problem. And also Matplotlib is a bit faster than Plotly because Plotly is very interactive, but it is you know, very unfortunate that we can't create these figures in Plotly. But anyways, so at least we can finish trying testing with creating a signal and then the backtest, and if that works, then at least we know that the remaining backtester is ready to be used. So I'm just going to skip the generation of OHLC figures. So I'm just going to apply this function here, see what this does. So yeah, we're creating our signal function for the backtester, and here we have our backtester strategy. So here we are specifying the backtesting strategy, and then the last part here is simulating our backtest. So if we run this, of course we need to provide this OHLC df. So if you run it like that, that should be okay. So our trades have been generated. So everything is working except for the plotly figures. So that is yeah, very interesting in my opinion, and yeah, also very unfortunate that we are having these issues. So as you can see again, our P&L chart, which is a plotly figure, does not render. So we should actually see a curve looking like this, or like if we want to see our backtest figure, it should look something like that. And so now if we go down again, most likely we will not see any of the trades being rendered on our JupyterLab. So anyways guys, I think so for now. I think that will be it for today. So I will be working on our project. So now our JupyterHub is ready, our MT5 is ready, the MySQL DB is not ready yet, so maybe we will uh, change the JupyterHub to be communicating with our MySQL database instead. I think that would be an improvement. So we just have to save the data and have a database. But other than that, I think we are on a good way. And so when the packages are ready, I'm going to share the access to the JupyterHub with all of you guys who are on the stream right now. Of course, starting with the members. So Vinicius, I'm going to reply to you after the stream when I'm done. And Martin, of course, I'll send you the credentials and discuss with you, first steps if you're interested. So thank you guys, for joining today's stream. And yeah, I will take a break and fix the bugs that I see here off stream. And whenever I'm done, I'll just up to you guys. And so for now, have a great day. So yeah, so bye bye guys, and see you later.